Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, misgivings over Strata are a major burden, both mentally and financially, for more residents than at any time in our history. Locally in Ryde, my community has a strong affinity for stratified villas and apartments, with many more on the way today. I've experienced this personally, having lived in Strata since before COVID-19. While I'm fortunate to live in a relatively low-cost and pain-free experience in my small Meadowbank apartment, more residents than I would like in Ryde tell a very different story. My predecessor was a big advocate for strata reform in New South Wales, and I'm pleased to see some of the work initiated under him continuing today. I pay full tribute to the now Minister for his preparedness to pursue more reform and undertake to work constructively with his government on better outcomes for strata dwellers. Part of the process requires that issues being experienced locally are elevated to the highest of levels, in this case the Parliament. This will form the basis of what I have to say this evening and will be followed up in greater detail with recommendations for further reform in due course. So where has this information been sourced? I'm pleased to inform the House that in recent months I've been conducting a Ryde Strata audit, a comprehensive survey that seeks to draw out the challenges of strata living, gauge support for current reforms and identify further opportunities for change. Importantly, it is interested in the experiences of real people living in their homes, not vested interests, ideologues or lobby groups. I want to thank the hundreds of individuals who've taken the time to share their insights, experiences and ideas. For example, I thank Teresa from Marsfield, who informed me that her levies were tripled in recent years due to what she's described as mismanagement. If a property had a pool, lift or major renovations, maybe these increases could be justified, but this is not the case for Teresa. She's been forced to sell the property. Nicole's a first home buyer from Eastwood. She spent years asking her strata to fix a leaking ceiling. She was told this work couldn't happen until other remediation work had occurred on the property. Remediation works that were never disclosed when she acquired a strata report before purchasing the property. These works now appear to have stalled, leaving her powerless to resolve the leak. Meanwhile, she's embarrassed to invite friends over to visit due to the damage, mould and more recently vermin. In Macquarie Park, Ivan reported that the developer of his building signed a 10-year management lease with a company owned by, you guessed it, the developer. Apparently, the fees were above market rate, so to meet these obligations, the committee approved a 20% levy increase. When the bill came, owners were then on the hook for 25%. Their complaints were put down to, quote, human error. Milton in Meadowbank wants to install an EV charger on his own lot. He was told it would cost him $1,500, not to install the infrastructure, but to change a bylaw for the infrastructure to even be considered. And finally, I'll share the story of Andrew in Ryde. He says that disclosures were never made by the developer that it actually owned the company responsible for appointing building managers and cleaners. The initial strata fees were kept artificially low to attract buyers, but this was later increased by 45% as the true financial position was revealed. In this latter example, new reforms will help to ensure the setting of initial levies are fairer, but it goes to show how widespread these problems have become. And time again, residents tell me about hidden fees, urgent repairs being ignored, lack of clarity regarding rules and rights, and in some cases, managers showing more loyalty to contractors than the communities that they're paid to serve. This isn't good governance, it's not sustainable, and it's pushing people out of their homes. I acknowledge the scale of the task ahead. Strata schemes vary enormously in size, structure, and complexity. But at its heart, this is about trust. People need to have faith that the system isn't rigged against them. I look forward to sharing even more examples with this House in the coming weeks and months. I'm also enthused by the opportunity to share and advocate for practical reforms to strata law, strata management, and the regulatory environment that impacts about how so many of us now live. If the government is serious about driving even more high density living in some of our already stretched communities, then it's really important that, and they need to ensure the fundamentals of this style of living is affordable, transparent, responsive and fair. And I look forward and undertake to work as constructively as I can with the government, in partnership of course with my community, to making sure that happens. Ryde is at the centre of these changes and it's important for them that we get it right. This is a vision that I'll continue to push until it becomes a reality for the people of Ryde and for the broader New South Wales community. We know that there will be even more people living in strata in the years to come. I thank the House.